All right, my friends, this is something a lot of you have been asking for. How the heck do we streamline our workflow to take an interview and find the best quotes and get it into the editor? You've been using some of the AI tools, Muse Prompt Pro or different things, and you're able to find the best quotes, but then how do you actually get it in the edit without having to, painstakingly find it all? And so I'm going to show you a workflow that works directly with Premiere or Davinci, and really is quite quick. We're going to, in minutes, show you how to build a story here. At the end, we'll talk about Trint and how you can use Trint for more complex things that you're looking to do, multiple interviews, longer interviews, that sort of thing. But for this one, this is a use case that fits for many of us, and it is darn quick. So to start, here you're going to see that I am in Davinci. And as part of that, I am just working with one interview here. And so I have an interview that I shot in Bali, and this is the architect of the property Cyan. And so I am going to just drop that interview into the timeline. And then all I'm going to do is drop my audio, which I recorded separately, to the timeline. And I'll just do the basic sync. Now, what we're trying to do here is we want to sync our audio and video together so that when we do a transcription, when we pull quotes, it's then pulling the audio and video in together, meaning we don't have to relink anything else. This is the massive time saver. So I'm just going to right click here and I'm going to hit auto align clips based on waveform, because I don't think it's a small shoot. We only had a couple people. I don't think we even did time code, but that is going to go ahead and very quickly sync it up for us. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to create a compound clip. And so basically what we're going to do is tell Davinci, hey, we want you to take this separate red file and this separate audio file and make it a new clip. That's the key to being able to actually pull this stuff into the timeline super quick. And so now that it's synced it up, I will just take this audio, I will move it up to the top. I'll get rid of the on-camera audio because it's junk with red. Oh, that's not the on-camera audio. That is. And I see that we have just a little bit here from the old file. Double check that's working. Just joking, just joking.
That what we're doing here
that looks good.
Will not affect everybody below.
So now I'm going to right-click both of these, and I'm going to go ahead and hit New Compound Clip. And so that what that's going to do is create this, which is now a compound clip, a single clip that has the audio embedded.
At that time,
nothing revolutionary here yet. We're going to get to the fun in a second. Now what I do on the John compound clip, though, is I come down here and I go to audio transcription and I hit transcribe. So that's going to transcribe everything. Now I've already done that because I don't think you really want to wait watch and see me wait 3 minutes. It only took about 3 minutes. It did about 12 times real time. It's a 25, 30-minute interview. But here's the entire transcription. Here's where it gets fun, my friends. So we are going to come over here and go to the transcript assistant, the Muse GPT transcript assistant. You're going to find that inside of the AI masterclass. And this is free to use. You just click, join, add it to your ChatGPT account. And you see some different questions here. Can you help me find the main plot points? Can you help me with the resolution, the hook, the conflict? These are very intuitive terms, which is by design. But also the more you understand the 6 essential plot points, the stronger you're going to be able to be as a storyteller. Know that this is, leaning off folks like The Hero's Journey from Joseph Campbell. It's also leaning off Freytag and Aristotle. It's pulling it all together into a framework that works a little bit more for branded and documentary content, shorter form content, and also a little bit more accessible in the language because you almost naturally get what a lot of these things are. But back to the demo, what I want to show you then is how can we use this transcript assistant to help you find things a lot quicker. So let's just to start say we just want to find all the plot points. So that's going to be looking for the 6 essential plot points. That's what I've trained it on. Now it wants the transcript, but it also says, can you give me any context or focus to help me tailor, what I find? And that's because at Muse, we are intentional. And so the better you set up the AI, the better you're going to get results. You can imagine if we were making a film on John, who was, a personal story for his blog, very different than what we're doing. So I'm going to let it know that this is a film about the architect of Four Seasons, and the experience of designing such an amazing property 25 years ago, actually. And the goal would be to encourage viewers to stay at Four Seasons Cyan. Nothing super complicated, but we're giving you that basic information to help it pull it. Now, all I'm going to do is say, here is the transcript. And this is where we get just super easy, my friends. We click over the Davinci. Here's the auto transcript. I'm going to go Apple A, Apple C, and I am just literally coming over here and copying that bad boy in and hitting enter. Boom. I'm just giving it everything and going, great, you go to work, help me find all those plot points. And so now what it's doing is it's actually coming out and it's finding things. And so I can see right away, like, I'm unfortunately the guy that drew this place up. I don't like the unfortunately, but I like that he's telling us who he is in a fun way. I'm not a big fan of the like, hi, I'm John, the architect. That is an engagement killer. But this really frames the story and it does it in a fun way. So I do like that quote. Now to pull quotes, all we're going to do is copy some of the keywords, come up to the search bar and hit search. And there we go. Well, unfortunately, I'm the guy that drew this place up. And there we go. I'll come over here. I'm going to hit insert. And what you'll see is that is now dropping that into the timeline.
Well, I'm unfortunately the guy. I'm unfortunately the guy.
And I'm just going to cut out the unfortunately, because he doesn't need to. He's not unfortunately. He's amazingly the guy. And that's not going to work well as an opening. But
I'm the guy who actually drew this place up.
okay, so it's not my hook. It's not strong enough to open the piece, but it is good for the beginning of my story. And I'm going to go back over here to ChatGPT, see what else I can find. What you'll notice when you do this way through Davinci or Premiere instead of Trint is that it's also going to take your interviewer's voice a lot of times. So you have to kind of parse through and go, wait a minute, that was me, right? Now, if you do it in Trint and you do speaker names, it's far better at not doing that, but we'll get back to that in a minute. Here, we believed in it so much. We're so passionate about everything. I love that line. So I'm going to take that, and I'm just going to get a couple words because how Davinci transcribes it and how Trint might not be the exact same. So I don't need to search for everything, and then I'll just highlight the quote, right? So we believed in it so much, and we were passionate about everything. And similarly, I don't need to hear about them arguing.
We believed in it so much.
So what I'll do is I'll just trim out that middle part.
Anything everybody was negative, we just argued our way through.
And then at the end,
we're passionate about everything.
We're passionate about everything. Boom, bring those together. And so now we have a little bit of the setup there. Now, of course, we need conflict, but I'm going to use the conflict of how ambitious this project was. And so as I look down here, and to be honest, we were sacked 3 times. That'd be wonderful, but I don't think that's going to work. So I look through and I'm finding other things, and it's sorted them by plot point for me. This is the most important project for me. I really like this for the near the ending to talk about how special this is. It's not the resolution or the jab. But he does talk about how it allows you to experience culture, and you don't come here for a tan, you come here to, really experience culture. And so let me see. Oh, and right here, I hope they change their mind about traveling everywhere you go. Here's another one. This absolutely could be something for the jab, the ending of the film. And so I'll put that in here. What does it find? I hope that when they change their mind about traveling, wherever they go, you get a sense of place. And a lot of this, the design was that you could feel nature. So I mean, it sounds obvious now, but we were selling nature. And so very quickly, we can start to see how this could come together into a pretty solid ending.
This is the most important project for me because it allowed me to express. I hope that they'll then change their mind about traveling. That everywhere they go, whether it's India or New York, you get the essence of the place. Sounds very obvious now, but we were selling. Sounds very obvious now, but we were selling nature.
So, and you'll talk about culture as well. So you can kind of, see how we could bring that all together into a jab or an ending of the film. Now let's head back over to ChatGPT. Now here's again where I want to remind you don't have to take their first answers. So you can then come back and say, I know that the bridge is one of the most amazing parts of this property. It's this unbelievable way that you walk in. You don't even know there's a property there. And so I could say, I want to highlight the bridge as you walk in. Could you pull 5 quotes about the bridge and the emotional experience related to that? So I can ask it questions, and it's an amazing creative producer that's going to very quickly go through. And the moment we release you is when you cross the bridge. I love that. So I'll just take a couple keywords, come back over here, X, paste, search, and then the moment we release you is when you cross the bridge. I'm going to bring this up here because this is going to be earlier in our story. What else did it give us? He talks about the challenge of getting people to stop and making them walk because, people want to like arrive to the lobby, but he wanted to create this wow moment where you don't even see the hotel and you kind of come under stairs. So maybe we'll take this one here where we wanted people to go across the bridge, and then the moment we release you. So we're kind of setting that up as a little bit of a conflict, curiosity gap. Why can't you find it? Let me take a few less keywords. There we go. So when you go across the bridge, you understood why the building, that is not the right one. There is another one though. So it found 2. We wanted people to go across we wanted people to go across the bridge and see the valley. The interesting thing is we had to convince people that the guests had to be stopped at the bridge to go across. Let me try something like that. And the moment we release you, so now it's right.
The interesting thing was to convince people that the guests had to be stopped at the bridge to go across. And the moment we release you emotionally is when you cross the bridge.
So we're starting to get there. Now, do we have anything about the challenge? So let me just ask one more question. Any quotes about the challenge or being fearless? I remember him talking about, needing to be fearless. Let me see. And to be honest, we were understanding. And so we can use that, and we can, again, just keep copying and pasting it over, and we can find the quote that we want. And X. There we go. We were given the opportunity to do something, and we were fearless. And I love that up in the hook to really pull you in and give you the sense that this was an ambitious project, and then create a curiosity gap around, what is the project and what is it and everything else. But you can see really quickly, just in the minutes I've been doing this with you, we are already starting to get a story structure.
I'm the guy who actually drew this place up. We were given the opportunity to do something, and we were fearless.
I would promote that. I would let him finish that sentence. I'll just really quickly do these tweaks to dial it in.
We believed in it so much. We're passionate about everything.
Probably want to go
The
into
interesting thing was to convince people that that the guests had to be
bridge up here. So, right, he's talking about being fearless, and then we can talk about
the
how
interesting thing was to convince
challenges that they
people.
had about the bridge, and then really you get this big
And the
moment
moment
here.
we release you emotionally is when you cross the bridge.
So, and then, I've already even got some, this is only going to be a social piece around a couple minutes. But I'm already got some of the
This is the
ending
most
stuff that I could
important
use.
project for me because it allowed me
And then
to
the
change
idea
their
of
mind about traveling.
changing your mind
New
about traveling,
York.
the power of travel, connecting with nature, connecting with culture. I mean, in minutes, I've created a pretty solid, structure to the edit. Now, let me just come over here so you can see. Here's the finished film that was released by Four Seasons earlier this year. I'm just going to play a couple quick seconds so you can see how, how this process that I've done in real time and how that relates to the finished film.
I'm the guy who actually drew this place up. The most difficult thing we had to do was I wanted everybody to walk across the bridge. Now everybody thought I was insane. We made sure that you walk down the steps, you then see this bridge. You don't see the hotel. You just see the bridge over water. That's it. And the moment we release you emotionally is when you cross the bridge.
Okay, so it's not the exact same, but you can see the structures there. In the actual edit, I dove in a little bit more and reconstructed that one line about having to convince people. I made that more aspirational around, the conversation that needed to be had and the intention behind it. But it's close, and in minutes, I got it very close. I can then use this transcription that I've done to be able to actually, pull things up and do what I need to do. But I still have access to the full resolution media. Now, this is a very quick workflow to be able to dial your edit in. The other way that you can do is you can actually go and move it into Trint. Now, to do it into Trint, what you want to try and do is, again, sync things up. You still want to keep your audio and your video together so that when it pulls it back in, and what you're going to do is create an XML. And so to do that, you're going to export a proxy, import the proxy into Trint, and then you're going to create a story. And so let me just show you that really quickly. You can find all kinds of tutorials on proxies if you're not familiar with that. But let me pull up Trint here. We would upload our proxy. I just hit upload, drag the file in. And you can't, a ProRes hour-long interview is going to be too big. So that's why you need to do a proxy here first. And ideally, you're creating the ProRes master, and then you're creating a proxy that you can upload so that you can sync them and get your original media when you go to finishing. Now, if you're doing a project that's like under $20,000 and it's for social media, it is more than fine to sync up your audio, do your color correction already, and then just export like an H.265 that you can actually work with, and then upload, and you don't have to deal with the proxy and whatever else. Depending on your workflow, depending on your finishing processes, all of that, but some different options for you. End result is we have a small file with audio and video sync that we can upload to Trint. Therefore, when we pull the files back in, and so we just open up this interview in Trint, and all Trint has done is transcribe my whole interview. But what's cool is I can click somewhere, and I can hit play, and I can see the preview in the bottom. Come on, right? And I can also hear what he's saying. How many times you've been fired? But now we're doing the exact same workflow where I might, search for something like, I remember the quote on being fearless. And I would search for that. And we were given the opportunity to do something, and we were fearless. And here's what I do is highlight inside of Trint. And so now I might want to find the one about emotionally releasing you. The moment we emotionally release you is when you cross the bridge. And so, again, just highlight that. What else do I remember? This project, and I think he had talked about He talked about how memorable it was, or nature. He talked about nature a few times. We're probably going to find a couple. There's 4 different matches here. So you're part of nature and the stone. So that would be another one that I could highlight. And as you're going through, you can pick out other things that you like. Because what you're going to do next, you're going to highlight everything in Trint. And then what you do is you create a story, what Trint calls a story. And we want just our highlights. We'll create a new story. We'll call it John interview in Bali. And now here, look at what happens. Is it actually is going to pull up both the transcript and these lines. This is the advantage of Trint, is now what I'm able to actually do is I can move these lines around and I can delete them if I want, right? And I can also go, oh, wait a minute. I had a line about, you know, who drew the place up. And so I could try and find that. Now, the one thing, will it let me search? Let me see. Drew. And it does. So there we go. The line that I missed, I drew this place up, and then I can just add that to the story. Boom. I want to bring that up here. And you can see I can just drag my lines around and basically do my edit. And you can actually hit play and preview it. So if you come over here and hit play.
I'm unfortunately the guy who actually drew this place up. You know, we were given the opportunity to do something.
So you're previewing your edit. You're able to make edits and do everything else. Now, when you're happy with everything in Trint, this is when you're going to do export, and you're going to just do an XML, and you'll then download that file, and you'll import that into your program, and that'll sync things up. Now, if I go into Premiere, and that comes out like this, and actually shows you your edits and everything else. Now, here this had a media syncing problem. You just got to relink the media, but it's actually putting the clips in the right order, how you want to do it. Now, would love to make this automatic, and spent way too many hours last night trying to figure that out. We're not quite there, but this is still an incredibly fast workflow. Hopefully you can see that in a matter of minutes, we're able to take a 30-minute interview. We're able to give some basic context to the transcript assistant. It's able to give us a ton of actions. We're going to have that dialogue back and forth, take the things we like, find them in the transcript inside the editor, drop them in the timeline, and boom, we've already got a structure. I would be able to realistically get a rough cut of this out in 3 hours using this format. I'd get the dialogue in, I'd throw a soundtrack underneath based on the dialogue. Now I know the tone and the feeling and the pacing that I want. And then since it was pretty intentional with the B-roll, I would actually map out exactly where everything's going to go. And in less than half a day, this is ready to go. So that's my general workflow. I hope that helps. I hope this really helps cut down time. And check out the transcript assistant and let us know what you think.